I cannot believe that I've never seen one of these before. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Hope you're doing well. Today we're taking a look at this. Something that I've never seen before, which is kind of a shock because I mean, they're popular. You just go on eBay or Etsy, they're kind of everywhere, but I have never seen one. So when I saw this, I knew immediately what it was, just based off of its form factor and the cassette here. I've just never seen one. I'm curious if any of you guys have ever seen one of these. It's made by Radio Shack, realistic. It's called the Cassette 8 Adaptor. And I knew what it was based off of this here. I mean, I could tell this was an 8-track. This went into an 8-track player. Let me show you guys this. Oh my gosh, it's heavy. So this is an 8-track player. And this was kind of produced 60s to 80s year. Those were the years, 1960 to 1980. And this was actually put into a lot of vehicles, which would allow you to take your 8-track and take your music on the go with you. You'd be able to insert your cassette there, your 8-track cassette, and be able to listen to your music. This 8-track, again, came out from 1960 to 1980, or even a little later than that, as a replacement of albums. So this, not so easy to stick in your car and kind of take with you on the road. So the younger, sexier 8-track comes out to kind of fill that need in the US and Canada. Surprisingly, I hear they weren't really big in UK. So I'm really curious what you guys did in the UK around that time, from like the 60s and 70s. What did you listen to in your car? How did you transport your music? So pretty interesting. This had quite a bit of success from the record. Again, being smaller, it had the ability to loop songs, though I know the record could also do that once the song or the album was done. The arm would pick up and then start back over. This kind of did it naturally. You had the ability to fast forward on this, which you really couldn't do on a record unless you manually picked it up, or you didn't really have that option to fast forward. This you could. You couldn't rewind this, but you could fast forward it. And it had some good, had its heyday, peaked in like 1978 when the Ford Motor Company had as an option for just about every vehicle they produced, you can have, not this exact unit, but you could have an 8-track player as an option put in your car. So kind of a peak in 1978, though it came out again in the 60s. It took quite a bit of time for it to really be adopted mainstream, which kind of leads to its decline, because it seems like at around the same time, a cassette tape was also produced, the younger, sexier version of this. I mean, you can tell by its size difference. Could hold substantially more music. You could rewind and fast forward, kind of novel, right? You can take it out and put it in. And this item here kind of filled the gap. It was kind of the bridge between the two. So if you had this unit in your car, you didn't have to upgrade to a cassette player, which was probably quite a bit more expensive at the time. You can still use your 8-tracks that you probably had a whole bunch of these laying around. And you would be allowed to listen to your music on the go by putting this cassette in here, then putting this in here, and you could, again, listen to your music, save the cost of buying a whole new unit. You were comfortable with this and how it worked, all of its controls you were used to, so you didn't have to learn any new tech. So you were kind of, for those people that really hold out, this was a great device for that. That's kind of what I've called this. This is a holdout device, right? Because then this eventually started getting replaced by its younger, sexier CD, which held substantially more music than the cassette. It wasn't as subject to failure as the cassette. You can leave this on your dashboard for not many times before it was ruined, where this tended to last quite a bit longer, store quite a bit more music, rewind, fast forward, get into certain tracks of the song. So this then replaced this. And there were holdouts that actually did a very similar feature of this if you were to, say, have a cassette player in your car and you didn't want to upgrade to a CD player. There were actual CD players that would adapt and have an interface, usually a wire that came to a cassette, that would go into your cassette player and allow you to play CDs in your car. So it was really an interesting evolution of tech. I mean, we all know that this eventually got replaced with the iPod, right? Allow you to store literally tens of thousands of songs as compared to what you could store there. And then we kind of progressed even further and went to our now streaming media, which could be stored on your phone and put up to your earbuds. These aren't earbuds, but you could then put your music from your phone up to the cloud and be able to stream it as you see fit. So it seems like every bit of tech seems to get superseded, whether it's a record then gets surpassed by the 8-track, which gets surpassed by the cassette, to CD, to iPod, to phone. I mean, I'm sure at some point everybody is going to have a Neuralink implant and we'll be able to just think about the track we want to hear and it'll immediately in high fidelity just pop into our brain, right? So, but there's always the holdout. I'm curious, are you guys the holdout or are you looking forward to the latest and greatest tech? Realistics, stereo cassette 8 adapter, the 1980s holdout device. Yay or nay? Be curious to know what you think in the comment section. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day or evening, depending on what part of the world you're in, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.